Welcome to Woo Ah La La La. My name is Julia. Today we have on my very special guest, Brittany, and Brittany runs an Instagram. Are you over on TikTok too?
No, just
Okay,
Instagram.
just it runs an Instagram account called Risk Thrift. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, I loved it. I found it one day and I was on your account scrolling and liking everything for like an hour. I was like, this chick is so fun.
Oh,
And then I
thank
started
you.
hunting you down. Can I do an interview with you?
I'm honored.
Oh, thank you. So, what got you started doing sewing?
So I feel like I'm just like an overall creative person as is. I don't really know like what the catalyst was for sewing. I think it was just like I started off reselling like thrifted clothes and then I just like realized like why am I putting so much effort into this when I could be putting so much effort into like actually making art that makes me happy, but I still wanted to like keep the clothing. So I think that kind of just like transitioned into like sewing, I guess. But I've been sewing for a while, so it wasn't like a new thing.
So, have you enjoyed thrifting for a long time?
Yes. Yeah, thrifting is definitely like one of my biggest hobbies.
Same. I love it. It's where I can de-stress.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And you
like,
know what is funny is that I'm an intuitive. And so people would think like that thrift stores would like overwhelm me, right? But I find them oddly comforting.
really,
Yeah.
I
Do you
feel like
find them
sometimes it can
comforting?
get a little overwhelming, but I feel like it's a fun place.
Yeah, it is. I think it's interesting to go in for myself and like feel the energy of everything. It
Really.
feels like the same energy of why I like to do these interviews. It feels like potential.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
I've never thought about it like that. Mine's more of like a foraging sort of like mindset. Like let's see like what I can find out of like all this stuff. If I can find like treasure. Like
Yeah.
that's like what brings me joy.
Same. I love it so much. And it's always fun to find another person who's been thrifting for a long time because it's become kind of a trendy thing.
Yeah, I feel like it used to be kind of like a symbol that you didn't have as much money, which is why I
Hmm.
started ultimately. Like it was a necessity
Hmm.
because buying new clothes was too expensive. But now it's like I would much rather thrift than buy new clothing, a hundred
Right.
percent.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can go into the shops and something, and I did buy actually a new dress not too long ago, which felt really odd to me
Yeah.
because the prices seem outrageous when you're used to thrifting.
Hmm.
But it is more fun. It is more fun like to just kind of like sift through and I don't know. I don't know why it's so much fun, but I agree with you. It is totally so much fun. Do you ever find yourself like if you're just having kind of like a lull or a low, do you ever go to the thrift store?
Oh yeah, it's definitely like a therapy session.
Same. I love it. And so what was the first piece you ever made that was like a fun one of your pieces that are like your signature pieces now?
Good question. I don't know. Like I feel like I kind of started with like just like blanket tapestry like jackets and then I kind of moved into like applique and embroidery. I think the first catalyst for that was I made like giant stuffed pillows with like fabric scraps because I had so many fabric scraps. And I made a giant like Campbell's soup can pillow that's like a big like you sit on it kind of stool. And I
Mm-hmm.
made like a giant spam can. And I think those were the catalysts for like moving on to like more funky like signature pieces. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously now it's more leaned towards like clothing. Um and my giant crayons and pencil stuffed pillows.
Mm-hmm.
Those yeah, that's kind of like where I started to move into like more like funky and less um I don't know, like earth tones and like neutral and stuff, if that makes sense.
So have you always dressed kind of like playful?
No, I used to be very I know I used to like shop at Forever 21 a lot, and I used to like shop, and like I was more worried about like dressing how everyone else dresses.
Hmm.
And I'd say only within the past few years I've really started to like wear stuff that is more colorful and like brings me more joy versus worrying about what other people think about what I wear.
Hmm.
So definitely within just the past couple of years, I'd say.
Well, do you want to know a little fun fact about me?
Yes.
My sister once turned me into that to be a guest on the show, What Not to Wear.
Really? I I don't like that show, like
I
looking
don't
back
like
on
that
it.
show at all. I'm like, let them have fun. Let them do their
Yes.
own thing. Who cares
Yes.
what anybody else thinks? If they like it, let them wear it, you
I
know?
agree. Wear what makes you happy.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, some of my outfits are definitely a hit or miss, you know? I'm like, eh, maybe I was feeling exceptionally playful one day.
And
And
that's
one time,
okay.
it was not too long ago, I wore one dress out, and it was a dress that had been given to me. So I'd never
Okay.
worn it before, but I didn't pick it out myself. I put it on, and it wasn't until I was out shopping, I was like, this is so not me. And there was nothing really wrong with it. It just didn't feel like me. And all of a sudden, I was like so uncomfortable because it didn't feel like
Yes.
me.
Yes. I
Yeah.
agree.
But it's fun now that you know how to like design things so you can make things that are totally you.
Yes. But the thing is, it's kind of weird. I was just thinking about this the other day. I really don't have a lot of clothes that I've made for myself.
Mm.
Like, I almost always sell what I make. Like, these pants are kind of like the first things that I made with the intention of having it for myself because I
Mm-hmm.
really don't have the time. And like, obviously, this is my job, so like, I need to make money. So
Mm-hmm.
when I make like try to make stuff for myself, I'm like, no, I could be making something to sell and then make money. So it's I gotta stop doing that.
Do you ever make something and then feel like, oh my goodness, I don't want to sell this?
Oh yes. Yeah, I've made stuff with and I'll usually end up putting it on the website, and then if it doesn't sell within like a day, I'm like, okay, now I'll keep it. That feels a little bit better. So I've done that a couple times.
Yeah. Do you remember which pieces?
I have a pair of picnic overalls, which was made from a quilt, and it has like little ants on it, and I love
Oh
ants.
yeah.
And
I
then
saw those.
it's so fun, and they like did sell for a while, and I was like, okay, I am going to love these more than I guess other people will, so I'm
Right.
keeping them. And then I also have a cow cardigan, so I made like a crochet from a crochet blanket. I turned it into a cardigan and I put like cow spots on it.
Hmm.
That was like one of my first pieces I've ever made, and I kept it.
Have you ever tried using sheets to make like summer dresses or anything?
I've made one dress out of sheets, but I've also made like pants. I've made like my handkerchief skirts and stuff. I've made
Uh-huh.
quite a few. Um but I've kind of leaned more towards like applique versus like creating entire new pieces, but I still kind of like put them in sometimes.
I love it. Um, one of your pieces that I really loved was the washing machine
Yes.
and then how it can spin. That's so fun.
It's been really fun trying to make like more interactive clothes because
Yeah.
you don't really see that kind of stuff, and I feel like it's so fun.
It is so fun. I love your interactive pieces or the hats that you can change out the hats on some of like the
Yeah.
goose, right?
Yep.
Um, it seems
I
like there were
just
some
finished
other
one for
animals
the
too.
customer. Huh?
There were some other animals, not just a goose, right?
Yeah, I've done a possum, a frog, a raccoon, a goose, a duck. I think those are the only ones I've done so far.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, those ones are fun. And your clothes are so like playful and whimsical and almost like childlike.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. I've kind of moved into like this. It's not an official slogan or anything, like as far as branding goes, but I feel like and sometimes even the men's section always has like more like fun. clothing, and I don't really like see that as like an adult. And I'm like, why do kids get to have like all the fun, silly clothes? Like I want that. So I'm
Right.
trying to like make that and bring that out for like adults to enjoy as well.
I love it too. And I feel like even in the neurodivergent community, it feels like it would be like a really big hit because
Oh, for sure.
I'm in the neurodivergent community too. So um I love being playful and accessing my inner child and
Yes.
um getting all in touch. And so sometimes, I mean, I don't always dress completely playful, but I when I look at my closet, I have such an array. I have the different sides of me, you know?
Yeah, and that's okay. Like you always have like different moods. Sometimes you want to like kind of blend in a little bit more and be comfy. Sometimes you want
Mhm.
to stand out. Like that's okay.
Oh yeah. For me, it's almost like characters. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to the farmer's market today. Where are my farmer's market clothes? And
Yes, exactly.
and I want it's like I want to dress for the part.
Yeah. I love that.
But I've definitely been looking at your designs. Do you do commissions or how do you work?
I do. I try to get in this rhythm of like I'll do 1 week long where I accept commissions and I work on those all week. And then the next week I work on everything that I drop on my website. And then the week after that is like photographing and editing and working on the drop for the website. And then I go all the way back and I just like keep rotating. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to like accept custom orders like every 3 weeks, and it's been going pretty well for that.
Is it more fun to just do a completely creative piece without a commission?
Yeah, I'd say I need that break from customs because it allows me to just make something that I want versus
Yeah,
making something that somebody else wants.
right.
And like obviously I wouldn't accept a custom if it wasn't fun for me to make. I would just be honest and say, "Hey, this doesn't really seem like my vibe." But there's always like that little bit of like I'm making this and I got to make sure that they like it versus like
Mm-hmm.
me, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. My daughter is an artist and she won't do commission work. Yeah, she's just like, no, because then it will take the joy out of it for me.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like it can definitely get to that point, especially if you put so much pressure on yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've been lucky enough to like have customers that are like super like easygoing or like fun to work with. So I'm very grateful for that.
That's cool. Well, I think you know what people say is your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you're fun and playful, so you're gonna attract other people who are like just fun and playful and whimsical.
I
Uh,
agree.
with your designs being so like childlike, have you ever done a custom for children?
That's a good question, and I feel like that's been coming up a lot lately. I I've accepted one custom so far where this mother wants matching rainbow fish. She wants a sweatshirt for herself, and
Oh,
then I just thrifted a sweatshirt for a child, so I'm almost done with that. And then I've actually decided to make I found two cute little sweaters that I'm going to upcycle for the next website collection just to kind of
hmm.
see how it goes. But I've never done kids' clothes before. It's only been like for adults.
Have you done any of those things where people have a special piece, maybe like a wedding gown or a prom dress or any clothing that might be special to them, where they want it turned into something else?
Not as far as like prom and wedding goes, but I did have a really special custom where this woman sent me clothes that belonged to her dad that passed away.
Oh,
And I made her like a beautiful handkerchief, like patchwork skirt with all of his like shirts and stuff, and I kind of mixed it in. So that was really special. I was really honored that
yeah,
they trusted me to like do that for them.
that's
That was really
amazing.
special.
Yeah, like a memorial piece.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was nice.
where do you see yourself going with this? Are you just gonna flow with it and have fun, or do you have any plans?
I have I don't really have like a long-term goal just because I feel like as someone with ADHD, I'm worried that if I make a goal and I say like, oh, I want to do this, I'm gonna like force myself to like do it, even if I've like reached the point where like that doesn't bring me enjoyment anymore. So I
Mhm.
don't really want to be like a big brand or like have a bunch of employees. Like that's not really like in my mindset, but
Mhm.
I definitely want to have a bigger space to work and maybe someday hire someone to like help package orders or like help me photograph would be nice. But
Yeah.
I don't want other people like creating for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. The no long-term goal at the moment, just like kind of going with the flow.
I like it. I can relate to that completely in what I'm doing. It feels like sometimes um I want to make more money.
Yeah.
I want to be bigger. I want people when they come on to Woo Ah La 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 to be super excited to be on because they know that when they come on, it's going to be very influential for them. So I want it not just for myself, but I want it for the people who I interview
Absolutely.
as well. But when you get bigger, there's more responsibility and more pressure.
Oh yeah.
And I and that's what I'm feeling from you is that it feels like right now it's fun, right? And too big would be too much pressure, right?
Yes. And I've started to feel that pressure a little bit, especially like just trying to make sure that I am like keeping my engagement high is like always
Mm-hmm.
on my mind. Like I'm always worried about like am I going to start flopping? People aren't going to like see my work anymore. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to be as successful. So that's like a really big like anxiety for me is just like I got to make sure that I keep bringing my best and I got to keep doing better. And sometimes that kind of takes the joy out of it.
But yet, I think infusing everything you do with joy is the key.
hmm
Once you take the joy out of it, then it flops.
I
Uh,
agree.
yeah,
Yep.
and it makes me think about like when my husband does a lot of bowling and bowling tournaments, and he will get like so upset with himself if he doesn't do good. And what I always say is like, if you have fun, you can't lose.
I love
Even
that.
if you like, he's like, yeah, but I paid like $500 to enter that tournament. And I'm like, well, then you have to go into it with, I am spending $500 to go have some fun.
Yes.
And maybe I'll win something and maybe I won't. But if you go into anything with the expectation of only having fun and you allow yourself to have fun, then you can't really lose, right?
Yeah. I like that advice because it's like I started to do this as a full-time job with the intention of bringing more like enjoyment and fulfillment to my life. I
Mhm.
left like working at fast food and like working at all those jobs because those didn't bring me joy. This brings me joy. So for this to like turn into more of like a job that I have to do versus want to do,
Mm.
I don't ever want to get to that point because then what's the point, you know?
Exactly. Then what's the point? Do you have another job that helps you like keep your finances in balance?
Nope, this is it.
I love it. That's just full
I'm really
trust.
grateful. It's keeping me afloat, I guess. And I have a boyfriend, Andrew, who also like is very supportive and I'm super grateful for that. So he's working and he's paying for expenses. I also have expenses as well, but
Mm-hmm.
um I'm really grateful that he has been so supportive and allowed
Oh,
me to
yeah.
like have the confidence to leave my job and to like
Mm.
work on this, pour all of my energy into this, and I think it's really paying off. So I'm grateful.
Oh, that is wonderful. My husband also it supports all my endeavors and recently I've been thinking of like new creative ideas though to make a little bit more money yet
Yeah.
keeping true to what I'm doing. And I used to diddle in the stock market. I say diddle, I definitely did more than diddle. I did stock market trading quite a bit.
I've never done that. That's like a whole weird universe to me.
And I got out of it and went into crypto for a little while. And
Really?
I'm still in some crypto, but I haven't been like actively trading or anything. But I've been thinking for myself, hmm, I need some like passive income where
Okay.
I could do this. And I was thinking about like that for you too. That would be kind of fun to find like a passive income that can fund the fund the fun.
Yes. Yep. That would be nice. Let me know when you figure that out.
I know. I'm thinking of taking a course. That's what I'm thinking of doing some things because so much has changed. I used to know how to do it, and I could tell you right now. I'm like, oh, this is how you do it. But so much has changed with all these different regulations and trying to not make it happen and blah, blah, you
I
know.
can't even imagine.
Um, so it's a lot more difficult than it needs to be right
Okay.
now. Um, but hey, if I figure it out, my thing is I'm not a gatekeeper of information either. So
Yeah.
if I find things out, I always want to share it with everybody and be like, hey, this is how you're going to have fun. So if I figure it out, I will definitely tell you
Thank
because
you.
because it's always more fun to have more money to play with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. 100% instead of like always having to not necessarily live like paycheck to paycheck, but like you have to constantly be working if you want to make income.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's nice to like not have so much pressure on yourself.
right. Because and then you can infuse what you do with more fun
Yeah,
because that pressure
exactly.
is gone. I love it. I would thrift no matter how much money I made, though. And I have a feeling you
Oh,
would too.
oh yeah. I feel like a big part of it too is just like it's become kind of like a sustainable factor as well for me. There
Yes.
are so many clothes that get thrown away and like sent overseas or incinerated, and it's just so wasteful. I don't think that like anybody needs to be buying clothes new 100% of the time. Like I think that everyone should kind of like be a little bit more mindful of like secondhand is not gross.
Right.
It's wonderful. It's a great way to like keep them out of the landfill, you know?
Exactly. I think it's kind of funny to think about. There are a lot of people who would say, like, ew, thrifting's kind of gross and somebody else wore it, right? But a lot of times those are the same people that if you said, hey, this is the jacket that Britney Spears wore on tour or something, they'd be like,
Yeah,
oh yes, I want that. Like what does it matter who wore it?
yeah. And
What
you don't
makes
know who
one
wore it
more
if it's
expensive and
Britney.
one gross, you know?
Yeah. Obviously, like you gotta like be mindful and make sure that you're like cleaning like your thrift clothes 100%. But it's not like the actual act of thrifting isn't gross. I think the act
Right.
of like supporting like new clothes 100% of the time feels more gross because so many companies they use slave labor and they use unhealthy practices, bad chemicals and
Yep.
toxins, and they're so wasteful to like make brand new clothes versus buying used clothes.
Yep.
So yeah,
I
thrifting
love
to
how
me
you
is not
flowed right into where I wanted to flow into because that's where I
great.
wanted to go because that's huge for me too. Is that's a huge reason of why I like thrifting as well and why I would always do thrifting is
Yeah.
because I've read about how much waste is produced and like I feel like so many times people want to do these things for the environment that um like looks good, looks trendy, you know, and like, oh, I'm buying this fully organic hemp dress, which okay, I have, you know, and that is good. It's better than just buying something simply for the name brand and
Yes.
they have unethical practices.
You have a good reasoning behind what you're doing.
Right. But still it's really good to just go back to simplicity. And the simplicity is to use what we have, right?
Yes. Yes.
And if if no other clothes were ever produced, if something happened and manufacturing was shut down, I've read that we would still have like enough clothing to keep everybody clothed like for so many years.
For at least 5 generations. Like there are so many clothes, and I feel like we as a society consume way too much, and that kind of like it kind of feels weird because I am creating stuff for people to consume, but I'm it's like I don't know. We consume way too much, and I think we need
Yes,
to be more mindful about what we buy and try to like repair the clothes that we have,
yeah,
reuse what we have, and invest in like higher quality pieces and not constantly like buy stuff simply because it's like a trend or other people are buying it. Like this is in,
right.
this is what we need to be wearing. You need to like kind of take a step back and figure out like what your fashion is and
Yes.
not be so worried about what everybody else thinks. And that's not it's
Yes.
not easy. It's taken me years and I still get self-conscious sometimes, but
Yep.
it, I don't know,
I
rambling.
totally agree. No, 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 no. It's wonderful. This is where I wanted the conversation to go because I knew this is where I would relate with you because I totally agree. And yet I feel like in my early years of thrifting, what I would do is because I'm 50 years old. So I would go through catalogs, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I would go through, I loved the J. Jill catalog. That was one of my favorites.
Okay.
And it was like really more like relaxed fashion, boots and long skirts and
Okay.
that kind of thing. And I would go through the catalogs and I would try to find out like what's kind of trendy, the trendy look. And then I would like to go to the thrift store and I would buy like a few new pieces. And I still like to do this, buy a
That's
few new
okay.
pieces and then go to the thrift store and kind of like fill in the fun,
See
and
what you can
find.
find. Yeah. I agree.
But these days, I don't even really keep up with the current fashion much. I just
No,
simply look at what do I like and what feels fun for me.
I agree. And I think it's okay to like change over time too and just don't feel like you have to set yourself into this little box.
Hmm.
It's okay to like change your interests as well. But I think it's important to like not only buy something just because everybody else is, especially if you don't even know if that's going to bring you joy or not. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
And like
It's
I
a
said,
long
I have
process.
it in my closet. Like I change day to day. When
Yeah.
I was getting ready today, this is really funny because this often happens, the color coordinated kind of thing, because of me being an intuitive. I literally I stand in front of my closet and I go, okay, what am I supposed to wear? What feels good? And today I looked at a couple different things and I was like, nope, this one. And I picked it out.
And
And
you're like
it's
so primary
hilarious that our
colored and
colors like our color we
yeah.
look like we color coordinated.
I love it. I did the same thing too. I was like, okay, I want to wear something that represents like how I feel on the inside, represents who I am. And I was like, okay, we got this
Yeah.
together.
But do you find out that like what represents who you are can be multifaceted?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Ah,
I feel like a lot of the time I've leaned more towards like primary colors and stuff as of lately, but I also find myself wearing like all black or just like a big baggy t-shirt or like a big sweatshirt. Like, I don't know, it changes however I feel.
yeah, exactly. Same with me. It changes how I feel. Like I said, I did I did like community theater and things like that for a while and I view everything as like costume changes
I love
and
that.
I'm going out and I'm like what am I and I kind of make a to do about it in my family too. I'm like, all right, do I look like I'm going to the farmer's market or do I look like I'm going to my women's circle?
I love that.
And I kind of did that today too. I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring out my fun earrings and see they're little
I
daisies.
gotta
Of
get
course
closer.
I thrifted them.
I love them.
Um, and my little funky little
Little choker.
scarf thing. I just have
Oh,
fun.
cute. I
We
love
gotta
it.
have fun.
Yeah, and that's just wear what makes you happy, and that can
Exactly.
change from day to day.
And I love it. And I hope I know that my time for recording is about ready to be up pretty soon. But I'm looking at him like, I hope that you keep having fun doing this. And I love the energy that you bring to social media and encouraging people to just have fun and to be your authentic self because it's so important for
It is.
us to be our authentic self. Dare I say, allowing yourself to just simply be yourself could be the most environmentally friendly thing you could do.
I love that. I
You
love
know,
that. It's
you don't
important.
have to if you didn't care what anybody else thought and you didn't think about anything about the trends, would you feel the need to constantly upgrade your wardrobe and just throw things away just because they're no longer the trendy thing to do?
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
agree. Like just take a step back and figure like assess, what brings you joy and what you're just wearing because everybody else is wearing. And it's okay if you see like a trend and you're like, "Oh, I think that's really fun. I want to try
right.
that." But I don't think it should be every single thing.
Yes,
Like at some point like what everybody else is wearing can't always be what you want to wear.
right.
I don't know. I don't know.
I love it. Well, I found it even thinking about it, even in home design too.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
I saw a video once of a this wealthy woman who had claimed to be so environmental, and she was like had a big hammer and she was like smashing up her granite countertops and just throwing it in the garbage and ripping out all
Wow.
of her kitchen. And I'm thinking there was nothing functionally wrong with that.
No.
And so you're going to put all that waste into the landfill
And you can
and
reuse that.
then
That's crazy.
buy something else. I just think even in home things, I think it's
Yeah.
completely wasteful to
This like
oh
it's a stool. I
uh-huh.
found it at a dumpster outside of like this pizza shop. They just had it out by the dumpster and I love it. Like
I love it. I do it all the time.
yep.
I'm always like I find something on the side of the road or and then I reamp it or I don't. Maybe I just use
Yep.
it as is.
Like this is cool. Why would this get put in the trash?
Exactly.
Stop throwing out your stuff.
Ex- or maybe don't. No.
Donate
'Cause-
it.
but how about like make it more okay? I love it when people just put things by the side of the road and it's obvious that they just want people to pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Give it a
Oh,
chance.
I don't have too much longer, but I want to bounce an idea off from you
Yeah.
that I had the other day. So you know how they have those book things where you donate books. You have those little houses and they have all the
Yes.
used books in them.
Yeah.
When and also, you know how they have those big giant containers that they say for clothes and shoes.
Yes.
And you donate it. You just put things in there and then somebody comes and picks it up. What if you took those two ideas and put them together and you had like this little like closet basically, like this little teeny tiny house with clothing that people wanted to donate instead of books and people could donate and go get what they wanted at the same time. Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
That would be cute, but like all free, like
Yeah, all free, just like
entertainment.
the book boxes.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
I don't know how manageable it would be, but I was thinking about that the other day and thinking of how much waste that would, you know,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of
stop.
people do like closet swaps or clothing
Yes,
swaps where all
I
their
do them.
friends will get together. I've never done that before, but that sounds like pretty fun too.
Oh, it is fun. I did them years ago when I lived in San Francisco and we would all just get together and people we would just I've done fancy ones and non-fancy ones. So I've had it so your friends, everybody just brings everything in a garbage bag and you literally dump everything out in the middle
Yep.
of the room and you have some drinks, food and drinks going and you're
That
having
sounds
fun and everybody just goes through it. And then one I went to though was kind of rather fancy and I loved it. But everything, you brought everything and then they had everything sorted out and they had clothing racks and everything where you put
oh,
everything. And then it was for every piece that you took, there were different donation boxes that you put $1 for each piece, and then it went to a charity.
that's really nice. I like that. That's like a
Yeah.
great way to like hang out and come together like as friends and as family and stuff, but also just to like be more sustainable and supporting a charity. That would be really cool too. Like
Exactly.
checks
Yeah.
all the boxes.
When I did that one, I remembered that my daughter's like kindergarten teacher was there at that event. And I mean, you have to know that it's like an all women's event and
Yeah.
we're trying on clothing. So we're walking all around. We're like just whipping our clothes off. And I came home and I told my daughter, I saw your teacher in her
That's
underwear.
so funny.
So yeah, it can be funny, but we can have fun with being
Yeah.
sustainable.
Yeah.
And I love what you're doing with your account. I hope you keep doing it, keep creating more fun. And thank you so much for coming on here with me and doing this interview with me today. I know it was a little bit of a hustle, but
We got
we
it.
got it. Yes. Oh, one more little question. Where in Michigan are you from?
I say Detroit, Michigan. I'm technically in Sterling Heights, Michigan. It's like
Sterling
right
Heights.
above it.
All right. Yes.
Right there.
So you know where Ferndale is?
Yes.
I moved from Ferndale.
I love that.
I lived in Ann Arbor for like 10 years and then I moved to Ferndale for a couple of years and met my husband who was from Rochester Hills
That's
and now
awesome.
we're in
I like
Florida.
it there. I've been there before.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful and blessed day and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Julia. You too.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.
No.